And that's why the Gerber Scout represents some of the best design features and characteristics I've seen in a pocket knife lately. But it has one of the most out-of-date blade materials I've also seen in years. So today, we're gonna discover if an epic design can trump outdated materials. So thanks for joining me so much today on the channel. I'm Aaron, this is Gideon's Tactical. Let's dive in. And guys, make sure to stick around because a little bit later we are going to do an edge retention test through manila rope with the Scout versus the Kershaw Heist. So stay tuned for that. That should be a lot of fun. And I found some interesting results that I wasn't really expecting when I did that test. So we'll get to all that. But let me explain what they have done that is just so well executed. We're going to start here with the pivot area. So we have what they call a pivot lock. This one, look at the bar in there, nice and thick, and look at these traction points. These look like BF Goodrich all-terrain off-road tires. And they grip like that, but they are not sharp to the touch. They look good to boot, and they are so easy to engage, but they just have a style and then a performance level to them that is excellent. And the fact that they're not sharp and painful, because I've had some that are just like the angles are so aggressive, you're just like, ow, man, when you're working it. Not the case with this, barehanded all day long, but gives you grip with like gloves. So that is well done in conjunction with that stop bar. Look at the thickness of that stop bar right back there. That is big. So this is designed to be an overbuilt knife. And we run that into the pivot. Look at that flathead pivot right there. Matches those thumb studs, big, large. So you could do like with a quarter or a dime, you could adjust the pivot if needed. The centering is perfect on this. Super well done, and the tip is super recessed in there. You are not going to be accidentally grabbing that. So that is well executed. And then it runs on bronze phosphorus washers, guys. Now we are talking. We need to go back to that. I appreciate ball bearing washers or bearings on like pocket jewelry. The EDC knives that are really sleek, slim. It's more about style. First, function second. You're more for the office and night out on the town. They're not for hard use. We need a lot more bronze washers back in the market because they're durable, they're easy to clean, and they don't get mucked up like ball bearings do, and this has those bronze washers in there. And this thing, that was a bad one, flies. It flies, baby. I love it. It's so good. So that is excellently executed. I have slight wobble side to side like I have on my Griptilian from Benchmade, and solid lockup up and down. No wobble, no rock. You could obviously tighten that down ever so slightly if you wanted a more secure like side to side pivot, but you probably wouldn't be able to do this type of action that I'm able to do with it. So it's exactly, let's just see here. Yep, I got just a slight there, and on this, Kershaw Heist, the Heist actually even has a little bit more side to side than on the Gerber. So all of this area just so well done with a finger slit, thumb slit, whatever you want to call it. Has a little bit of a lip, so easy to grab if you want to. Right there, ambidextrous, obviously the whole knife is ambidextrous, but not so sharp that, it's abusive to the fingers, and then obviously you can just pull the crossbar back. Now, before we get to the handle, which is just a whole nother level, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is LA Police Gear. Now, it's been excellent to have LA Police Gear as a regular sponsor here at the channel for the past few years because they carry amazing gear and equipment like Leatherman and Gerber, Benchmade and Spyderco, as well as Streamlight and Surefire, firearm accessories, but they also have their own well-established brand of gear and equipment. And I want to highlight their newest release of the Benchmark series of apparel. And this series focuses more on the tradesman, the workman in your everyday life versus other apparel designs that focus more on the tactical application. So these are set up to be used in the trades. If you are a construction worker, a handyman, you just like to tinker as a hobby after work, whatever it is, it has more of that focus both in their workman pants, but also in their everyday Joe series of pants that I have been using extensively, and I love them. They're really set up well. They're true to size. I wear 34, 34s, and these fit excellent for me in that size. size. They have several different color combinations built out of 98% cotton and 2% spandex, so it has some of that flex and stretch that we're seeing more and more in the market, with excellently laid out pockets and belt loops that can handle up to a 2-inch heavy-duty belt. So their layout and durability is great for the job site, but then you can go directly into a presentation at the office and then head out for dinner afterwards without having to constantly be switching out apparel. So guys, regardless if it's the Benchmark series of apparel or just gear and equipment in general, when you use that 10% off promo code that's exclusive to you, the viewers, you can get amazing deals on all kinds of gear and equipment to help you better stay equipped and prepared for whatever life is going to throw your way. Now, the design excellence is matched in the handle. We have micarta, a tan micarta, looks so good. We got a little bit of traction hits, just for more for styling than anything else. I would say it's high polish micarta. I would say that. It's not medium. You know, you could obviously gritting that up if you want, but I just love the texture and the tone of the color and the feel of micarta. The handle is like 4.5, maybe 4.6 inches long, if I remember correctly. It is going to be 0.53 on the thickness, so good girth right there. Fills out my large size hands with plenty of real estate, and just all the angles are milled and rounded. There's no sharp lips with the liners. Just so well done. Like, it just looks good, flows together, it's contoured, nice little cut in there for your finger, but you know, no like weird cut-ins that like your finger has to lock into. Reverse grip, feels great, warm to the touch. You have a little hit right there of jimping that just protrudes above, but it's not sharp, but definitely gives you like a little bit to bite onto. Good guard lip right there, and that flows into the stainless steel liners that are milled. They're machined, they're cut out. So this weighs 4 ounces on my scale for this knife. For a budget-friendly knife, this is impressive to have that, and it has a more dense feel. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I got all the roofers working behind me today, so I apologize if you're getting like and different stuff in the background. Hopefully I can take care of it, but you can just hear it like on the Griptilian, that clackiness, because of the hollow kind of polymer. Because it's micarta over machined liners, it just has that density to it. And this weighs, the full-size Griptilian is 3.9 ounces. This is 4. You have nice OD green, kind of stylized back spacer, which I believe is aluminum right there. Really well done, and it seats a little glass breaker that I believe is removable if you want to. That doesn't look like it's housed as part of the body, but it's not sharp. Like, it's there, and it gives you a little contact point if you had to, but it's not something that I ever bumped and was like annoyed by. And then the pocket clip, matte gray, matching the blade that we're about to get to. Low profile, but easily gets over all of my pairs of pants with recessed screws. Gerber is doing that right. Excellent job. And what's even cool, you can see here, this third notch down here, this little like mouth, like hello, that is an anti-rock piece, and hopefully you guys can be able to pick this up. The lip, the design of the pocket clip goes down into that and grabs it. So I mean, this does not shift, and is designed to like stabilize and keep your pocket clip from wobbling. Lanyard hole if you want it. Now to the blade. Let's talk performance before we talk materials, okay? Let's just, the shape, you know, profile, that type of thing. We're looking at 3.2 overall from handle to tip, about probably 3.1, maybe 3 inches even on actual cutting edge. Flat grind, smoke wash coating that's holding up super well. The most like beautiful drop point I've seen in a while. Just the style, the profile on a high flat grind, 0.1 on the thickness. It basically holds that almost all the way to the tip, and a pretty good thickness on the tip as well. So I mean, again, it's designed to be an overbuilt working tool. It's a working tool. It's not going to go out on night on the town per se. It's designed to be on the job site, the backcountry, or your backyard. I forgot to test this earlier. I believe it has a 90-degree spine. Let's just see here. Oh yeah, there you go. So throw sparks to boot. For like a hiking knife, a camping knife. This would be like, the design is like ideal for going on a camping trip and those type of activities. So I was really pleased with the performance, all the general utility, the shape worked really well. Cardboard slicing, you know, breaking down boxes, I did a bunch of that, you know, just using it, just seeing how it's gliding through the material, cordage, you know, feather sticks for a fire if you had to, you know, like whatever. It's performing really well in the sense of the blade shape and the edge geometry and the grind height are all flowing and augmenting each other so well. So on literally to this point, every aspect, I cannot find a problem, and I'm in love. I'm honestly in love with this blade, guys, until this comes into play. The steel. Now at $55 to $60, the Scout is priced to easily compete with knives like the Kershaw Duralock series, which is also made in China, just like the Scout. And we're going to be running it in comparison to this Heist, which is right around that same price point. And the Heist has D2 steel. And I will have links to both blades in the description below this video. So if either one makes sense for you by the end of this video, always appreciate it when you use the hyperlinks that I provide to you over to the affiliate networks that I partner with. Now, you would think that the Scout would keep it competitive with also sporting D2 or possibly some form of Sandvik or AUS 8 or AUS 10 steel. Nope. It is 440A steel. Gerber. 1995 is on the landline, and they're calling and they want their steel back. Listen, I get it. I grew up in the 90s. There's nostalgia there, rolling in on my Ford Taurus, listening to Gangster's Paradise on my Sony Walkman. But that was almost 30 years ago. Steel has progressed. So after I got out of my time machine and realized I was in the 21st century and it was 2023, and was like, okay, it's just such an outdated steel. I reached out to Gerber, and they hooked me up with this model so I could break it down, use it, show you guys the positives, and keep it real and tell you the negatives and tell you the things that I wish were different, as I do in every video. They told me that the Rockwell on this 440A was 55 to 59. Now that's a wide margin right there. Usually 440A is Rockwell 55 to 57. So they're bringing up the hardness, I would imagine, near the edge. But I really wanted to see how it would perform against D2 steel. Now, if this had D2, I would be like, frick, everyone needs to buy this. For 55 to 60 bucks, this is like the best blade for the money for the heavy duty work. Like, now I put these both on ceramic rods to tune them up, so I'm very pleased with their initial edge performance so that we can get a pretty fair estimate outside of just their different grind angles of how they're going to hold up against this 3/8 manila rope. And so we're going to do 50 passes each and see what occurs. So let's get to it. Okay, at 30, I can tell that it just like kind of just became more difficult at 30. 1. 50. There we go. Whew. So I can definitely feel a little bit of a, it's lost its bite right there where I've been rubbing. So 50, I would say it was good till 30, and then became more and more difficult with each stroke. Okay, here we go. D2. 1, 2. 2. 3. Okay, so the pressure at 33 is about the same consistently through with this one. Now, the relief edge isn't as high, so this was actually, I think that was part of it. It was cutting through, and then started dull and bogged down. This has just stayed consistently at the same pressure still at 33 passes. Nine. 50. Okay. Whew. Golly, that's exhausting, man. And there's like hot spots all over the place. Okay. So my opinion, okay, it's still, still grabbing the skin on the D2 more than in that spot on the 440A. Oh yeah, I can feel, it's still clean cut, but I can feel it right near the belly. Yep, right there. You can see it just caught. Let's do like one more here. Now if I do a fast pass, it'll still go through and doesn't seem to catch me. Yeah, it's catching a little bit. It's catching just a little bit right there. But overall, pretty clean pass. Yeah, okay, and just like completely dulled out. Yep, boom, right where it's, yeah, but it's definitely catching. Yeah, it can't really do it. So it's really interesting that this blade performed kind of like a cheetah, a sprinter, or something like that. For the first 30 passes, it just screamed through that rope so easily. It was kind of effortless, and I was really impressed. But then by 30, it just ran out of gas, and by 35, I was really having to put a lot more pressure, saw through it, and by 50, it was basically done and almost as dull as a butter knife on that about inch belly portion where I was doing all of the work. Now, the good thing was it didn't have any damage. There was no rolling that I could visually see or feel, and no chipping. So with 10 passes on a ceramic rod, bam, it was right back to screaming sharp again. But it basically just screams for the portion that the steel can hold, and then it just gives up and it's done, and then you're gonna have to resharpen it. Whereas with that D2, it was just consistent, the same cut every time, same amount of pressure, basically all the way through to 50 passes with just a very small burr that would need to be worked out at that point. It could definitely go a lot longer in that. So that wasn't obviously the only cutting test. I've used it a bunch. I've EDC'd a bunch. I've broken down boxes and all the other video testing that you've seen here. And basically from my experience and what I saw, it's gonna perform like 8CR, 13 MOV, like just basic stuff, or like a basic AUS-8, nothing fancy. It's barely gonna get the job done in 2023. It holds up a little bit better than I was expecting, but D2 will just easily outperform it. And it's so sad because if this blade, Scout, had D2, or blow our minds, Gerber, and do Sandvik 14C 28N Rockwell 58 to 60, same price, everything exactly the same. I mean, I would be like, buy this knife. Everyone needs to own this knife. This is the best design, material, all that for the price. For 55 to 60 bucks, you can't get another blade like this because of just the features and characteristics that I'm seeing with the design. As it stands, if you need edge retention, the D2 for exactly the same price on this heist is just going to outperform it. Now the heist is lighter, it's slimmer, you know, it's not as overbuilt as the Gerber. So if you want something that's overbuilt and you're willing to hone up the edge regularly, you're going to get a lot of performance out of it still. There's a lot of capability, and there's everything else about it. But if we're looking at edge retention, if it just had D2, it'd just be so easy to recommend. As it stands, you're going to sacrifice edge retention for all the other capabilities, and that's going to be up for you guys to determine for yourself. So I hope Gerber does like a version 2.0, update the steel. They don't need to do anything else. Update the steel. And oh my gosh, it'd just be an amazing tool. So that's me, guys. That's my mileage, but I look forward to hearing from you guys. What's your thoughts? What's your take on the Gerber Scout? If you already own one, what's your thoughts on my experience in 440A? Leave your comments below. I appreciate you guys spending your time with me today. I hope that this video has been entertaining, giving you the data that you need, giving you some food for thought to help you better determine for yourself what tools are best suited for you. I invite you to check out the other video popping up, and until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.